Hey folks, Sam Basu here from Uno Platform. Now, for .NET development, I think for the longest time, our Achilles heel has been a missing visual designer. With Uno Platform and some really solid engineering, we have the perfect solution in place. We have Hot Design working seamlessly with Hot Reload to give developers a runtime visual designer for .NET cross-platform apps. However, if you looked at the latest Uno Platform release, you may have heard about some UX enhancements we made. So you will be like, did you move my cheese? No, it's all there, just better. So let's dive in. Let me pull up my screen here. So this is platform.uno. This is your one-stop shop for building cross-platform .NET apps visually and with AI. And you are essentially building a single shared code base with C# and XAML, and we take your apps to mobile, desktop, web, and all the places. But by far, the thing that really elevates developer productivity is Uno Platform Studio. This is the thing that lets you stay in the flow and build your apps incrementally. Yes, there are a lot of AI tools, but let's stick to design here. I'm going to talk about Hot Design and Hot Reload and essentially what changed. So before we dive any more into the latest, let's actually go back to the old first. So here am I in VS Code actually, with a very simple Hello World app. It's just a click counter, but it's actually showing you the older experience that we had with Hot Design. So this being a cross-platform app, you can see like it runs on all the places: iOS, Android, desktop, and browser. The desktop is by far the quickest to bring up and see. So in my app, I also have a global.json, which essentially pins an Uno SDK version. This is how you can upgrade from one version to another. So I am on a slightly older one. So let me run this app and show you what the experience was like. So if I run this on Net 10 desktop, it's going to do its thing with Skia rendering and give me a same consistent UX all across. So here is a super simple counter app, and all it does is you hit this button, the counter goes up. Now, what you are noticing also is we have a couple of extra tooling here. So this is Hot Reload that's saying, hey, I'm wired up, and next to it is a fire icon. This is Hot Design. So we have some, mechanisms behind the scenes to keep your app kind of in a suspended mode while you design stuff, and then it syncs back to whatever code is there in your IDE. So let's take a closer look at this. So what we have here is a toolbar that's kind of floating, and I can do a lot more things in here. So I can go into interactive mode where I can still click on that button and the counter goes up. I can come back into selection mode, and now I have all of my UI here that I can bring onto my app. I can click on individual UI elements. I can see the visual tree. I can edit all the properties. I can go back into interactive mode, and I can see how my app looks like in night mode or day mode, how my app looks like on mobile devices and tablets and so on. So this is the classic Hot Design experience, right? But we have made some updates to it to make this a little bit more seamless. So let me close this down and show you how you get to see the latest experience. So if I go back to my browser here, this is the Uno Platform docs. So you can get started with this in any IDE, any OS, and any AI agent of your choice. Now, for any of these, pretty much for all platforms and all IDEs, we recommend that you get started with Uno Check. This is a command line tool that essentially gets you all the SDKs and all the building blocks, so you can build a truly native cross-platform app and can deploy it to all the places. And as we push out newer releases and updates to the SDK, that's the same tool that you're going to update and get the latest bits. So I already have updated. So let's actually go into my terminal, and I'm going to show you the classic getting started experience. Bump up my fonts here a little bit. Let me go into a folder here. Let's make a new directory, and let's call this Uno Hello 6.5. Yeah. Let's do that, and we are going to go into that directory a little bit, and there. And I have lots of templates here to play around with, but the very simplest one is .NET new Uno app, right? So what this is going to do is give me a very, very simple bare bones Hello World app, but it's going to use the latest Uno platform and the SDK runtimes, right? So I have my app created. Let's go open this up in whichever IDE that's of your choice. In this case, it's VS Code. All right, so I have the app open here. I'm going to close down AI for a second. you can see it's thinking and it's trying to make sense of what this app and the code base is like. It's figured out that it's a cross-platform app. So let's switch back to desktop here for a second. Nothing much has changed. If I look at my main page here, it's just a simple hello world or hello Uno platform in this case. But if I look at the global JSON here, now it says 6531. So that's an updated SDK. So let me go ahead and run this app now. And it's going to, for the first time, it's going to pull down the NuGet packages and the dependencies. It's still all fairly fast. So now my app is running and you get a little different experience. So what's going on here? Well, we heard you, and we wanted to make it very easier for developers to understand where all the moving pieces are, so you don't have to click around. So this is only a first-time experience. So what it's telling you here is, hey, I launched you into a hot design experience, and it's telling you, welcome to hot design, right? And it's a carousel here that's going to switch around. It's going to say, hey, you got a couple of modes in here, so we are trying to make it very clear. If you want to use AI stuff, go into agentic mode. If you want to be in design, stay in design mode, and we'll get you all the UI. And if you want to be interacting with your app, stay in interactive mode, right? So again, we remember all of your choices. So the next time the app launches, you'll be exactly where you left it. So I'm going to say, okay, I got it. And now I'm into hot design. So again, once I maximize the screen, you notice that it's a similar experience, but some things are different. The toolbar that used to be floating, now it's a fixed toolbar because you have three very distinct modes. This is the agent mode, clearly, right? So up here is the agent mode. And I have my right-hand side here wired up with an AI agent that's custom. I can give it more data context, and it's going to build any UI that I want for that screen that I'm on. Or I can go into interactive mode. In this mode, I can actually click around. This one doesn't have any clicker. It's just a hello world app, but you can understand, like I can click around and I can interact with my app exactly the way I want. And then if I go into design mode, now I have the same things. I have my toolbox now moved here down below, and over here is my visual tree. So I can, select individual elements in here, and I can change their properties. But there is also a new thing here called the Scope Selector, which is very nice because for most complex apps, you're dealing with many layers of hierarchy in your design and your UI layout. So this lets you focus on the exact thing that you want to edit, and lets you kind of focus on that part that you want to work on. I'll show you a slightly more complex app. But again, this is the hot design experience. Nothing much has changed. All of your tooling about night mode and dark mode, that's all right here. I can still see how my app looks like on different form factors. So nothing really has changed. Is instead of a floating toolbar, now you have a fixed toolbar at the very top. All right, so that's hot design in a nutshell. But let's go back to a slightly more complex app here. So I will close this one down and pull up one of our beloved sample apps that's called Chefs. And this is all about food, which I love. And it's a fairly complex app here. So what I'm trying to show you here is if you go into the docs in hot design, now, we talk about what the newer hot design experience is, but there's a new thing called the Scope Selector. So this one is really nice because for most complex apps, you might be wondering, where do I start? So you have an application scope. You can have working on a certain user control, or you can be working on a data template, which is inside of a feed view, which is inside of another list view, and inside of another grid. So you have a lot more granularity to play around with. And once you select what you want in the Scope Selector, we kind of zoom you into the area of the UI that you want to work with. So take a look at the docs here. They're fairly nice here. Now, if I go back to the Chefs app here, I'm going to run this back on desktop because it's just that much quicker. So I haven't really updated this app a whole lot. There's a lot of views and lots of user controls and models and view models in here. Not much has changed, but the one thing I have done is I have updated the Uno SDK version to 6.5.3.1. So with that, now if I go run this app, and it's going to do a quick build here, net 10 desktop, and launch the app. So this is Chefs now running, and you can see like it's back in the hot design mode. And again, if you say go back to the running app, so which is again, I click on the hot design, and the hot design just goes away. It's still there, like that toolbar is now still here. But if I click on back in, I'm back into hot design. So it'll remember what you did in the last time round. But if I make this bigger, you see that same experience. I don't have the floating toolbar. I have the fixed toolbar. I have the agent mode in here. I can have the design mode in here. I can have the interactive mode here where the sides kind of zoom out. I can interact with my app. Let's actually go interact and get in here. So this is the first login page of the Uno Chefs app. I can get back into design. And this is where, even though this is a super simple UI and a screen, you still see the benefits here. This is my scope selector. So instead of working on the whole page altogether, I can click on one thing here and it says, hey, you are working on the login page. And then I can drill down more. So if I go in here and say, no, let me actually show you that login page, and you can see kind of how it zooms in. And now it's showing me all the things like, did you want to work on that particular password box? Or did you want that particular control or that particular checkbox? So it's a nice way to kind of walk down through the hierarchy of my UI and work on exactly the thing that I want to work on. And this is super helpful. Like if I go back into interactive mode and hold on, let's go back into design and interactive. Let's actually close down hot design for a second. And let's just say I go into the main screen. This is chefs with lots of menu options here. So this is where it really shines, where I can say, show me the feed view or one list view and the data binding behind it. Let me just work on the data template. Let me work on that particular checkbox or the home icon that I want. So you get to really zoom in and work on the thing that you want. So that's scope selection. So again, take a look at hot design. I think this is one of the best things that has happened to .NET. It's a runtime visual designer. Your app is not stopping. We are essentially pausing it and bringing you all types of design and AI experiences while your app is still running. And we have a little dev server running behind the scenes that syncs back your changes into the code running in your IDE. So great runtime design, visual experiences for .NET developers. So give it a shot. And again, if you are already using Uno platform and you're looking at the latest release, just know that we updated the UX here a little bit to make things a little bit more clearer. All right, so that's it. Take a look at Uno Platform Studio. We got hot design and hot reload working seamlessly for you for modern .NET cross-platform apps. That's it from me. Have fun building apps visually, and we can't wait to see what you build. And thanks a lot for watching. Bye.